Hi there, welcome to week 4 of the advanced Year 6 into 7 work from the Emmbrook School. So the light's a bit strange, it's nice and cool now at 5 to 9, so it's a little bit dark in my conservatory. We'll follow the same format as every week, so here are your questions. The extension there is on the right hand side of the page, and it's the extension of question 2. So have a little go through. You'll find these are very similar now to previous weeks. So have a look back at the work, hopefully keep a little record of that so you can find any little tips in there to help you along. And I will pop the answers up now. So if you want to pause your video to have a go at your questions. Okay, so here are your answers then. Have a little look through as always. Give them a tick if they're right. If not, have a little check and see if you can find your own error in your work before having a look at the video walkthrough. We've got the answer to the extension there on the right hand side. If you've got it all right, excellent work, well done. And if not, I'll cross the answers as I go, or cross the question numbers as I go, so you can flick through to find the question that you're looking for. Okay, so question 1 then. So we're going to round 4,352 to 2 significant figures. So we looked at significant figures in the previous 3 weeks, so we want to pick out the first 2. So here's my first significant figure. It's with a thick pen, isn't it? And here's my second significant figure. Okay, so we spoke about numbers which were placeholders and numbers with a decimal and numbers which are significant. Okay, so you want to round this now to the first 2 digits, the first 2 significant numbers. So we look to the next digit along. We use this one to tell us how we should round. And remember our rule, if it's 5 or above, we go up to the next 100 in this case. Okay, so to 2 significant figures, our number becomes 4,000. That doesn't change. But the next one does 400. Okay, so the 2 numbers as before become 0, so they're just placeholders. I just want the size of this number if I just take into account the first 2 digits. So it's closer, if you like, to 4,400 than it is to 4,300 because we've got 52, and that number there is closer to 400 than it is to 300 if we looked at it on the number line. Okay, so hopefully we're all happy with that after the 3 weeks worth of it. Right, so 15% of 130. So if you didn't get the extension, hopefully this one will help you out in terms of formulating a plan for 76%. So we need that plan. So we've looked at the number line before, and this number line is a proportional number line. Okay, so we need to move through it by multiplying or dividing to get to a certain percentage that we want, and then we can build up a little plan to add up the percentages that we have. Okay, so here at 100%, we've got £130, and then down here at 0%, we've got no pounds. Okay, we want 15%. So again, we don't worry about 15. We say, how can I get there? What do I know? Okay, and we've looked previously at 10%. So 10% as out of 100, we divide by 10. So we break our number line up into 10 equal bits. So the proportion of the 130, breaking that up into 10 equal bits, we would divide it by 10 to break up into 10 equal bits, and we would get 13. Okay, so that's good. But 10% is 13. We'll make a note. But I need 15, so I need another 5%. So 5% would slot in here. Now I can use my new mini number line, if you like, between 0 and 10%. So between 0 and 10, 5% would be halfway. Okay, so now I need halfway between 0 and 13. Halfway is just to divide by 2. So I want to do 13 divided by 2. So if we had 12 divided by 2, that would be 6. If we had 14 divided by 2, that would be 7 for whole numbers. So 13 divided by 2 has to be halfway in between these two. So that's 6.5. Okay, or in money, and this is the key bit here, we need money. That's going to be £6.50. Okay, so 2 lots of this would make up that. That's the way to think about it. So now I have 10 and 5%. So I can add these together, and that will give me my 15%. We'll do £13 adds £6.50, so 13 adds 6 gets us up to £19, and then there's my 50p added on. Okay, so we've got £19.50. So the key to percentages is, as long as you've got your plan, you can add up your plan to give you the total that you want. The key is, how much am I going to break my number line up into to find the percentages that I want? So I could divide it by 2 for 50%, for instance. I could half between 0 and 50 to get 25%, and all these different strategies. Right, so we've looked at question 3 before. So we do that grouping, don't we? So we've got our A's here, and we've got our B's here. And we just want a little bit of notation to tell us how we could write this in a different way. Simplify. Okay, so just to rewrite in a simplified way. So we've got a number, A, times by itself. A number times by itself is the same as saying it's squared. Okay, so number times by itself is squaring that number. So we can rewrite that as, have a blue back, A squared. And we still got this times sign in here that we haven't used yet, so we'll leave that in there. So move over to B. I've got a number times by itself 3 times. Okay, not added, but times by itself. So that's something cubed. Okay, so that we could write as B cubed, which we looked at again in previous weeks. And then the final piece of the puzzle to bring it all together is, along the way, we've not written down the multiplication sign, which is really what we're trying to do here, in order to simplify it. So we can write this as A squared B cubed. Okay. Right, so for question 4, fill in the missing number. So in order to do that, we're just going to have a look at the numbers that we do know and find the difference between them. We've looked at this strategy a number of times now. So between 2 and 24, there's a difference of 22. So if I want to make 2 jumps along, my distance must be half of the distance between 2 and 24. So half of 22, which is 11, and another jump of 11. So I do 2 add 11. I get to 13, 13 add 11, I get to 24, and another jump of 11, and I get to 35. So there we go, 13 and 35 for our missing numbers. Right, so complete the ratio. So we've looked at this before. We always use money, it's a really good format for ratio, in real life use perhaps. Okay, so we have person A and person B. This person's getting £4 for every £3 that this person's getting. Now, person A has £36. Okay, so that is 9 times more than the original £4 that they had. Okay, so in order to do that, I did 36 divided by 4 to figure out what I have to times 4 by to get up to 36. Let's talk about those inverse operations. So if this person's getting 9 times more money, well, I think if it's in a ratio, this person should be getting 9 times more money as well. So we'll times their quantity by 9, so it stays within the same ratio. And so 9 times 3 gets us £27. And there we go, we've completed our ratio. Okay, so on to question 6. So again, we've looked at these expanding brackets questions a number of times. And we really need to think of this as lots of. So it's 2x lots of, notice I do a curly x for my x's and then a straight one for my times, x plus 3. So if it was just 2, forget about this x, 2 lots of x plus 3, I would double my x plus 3. So I'd have 2x plus 6, just make it twice as big. So when we have a term on the outside of the bracket, we just multiply up to make the expression on the inside of the bracket that many times bigger. Okay, so the multiplications I need to do to make both terms that many times bigger is 2x times x. And I also need to add to that 2x times 3. Okay, so this is grouped quite nicely. That's a really thin pen. So if I group this off, this just means 2 times x times x. So I group off this and have a look at what we did up here. A number times by itself means squared. So I could write this as 2x squared. And I've just dropped that multiplication sign there and written that one as an x squared. Okay, now here I have 2x times 3, so I've got 2 times